Let's take a look at Sunday. There are only 3 games on, but we got streaming to do to win our Week 2 matchups. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and Red House, it's time to put your bins out. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers place a $5 bet and win that first $5 bet and get $150 in bonus bets. Go to FanDuel.com to get started. Check out also LockedOnDaily.com for your newsletter for your favorite team. All the information about your team condensed into one neat little package. Thumb it up and double bang the video. We're hitting towards 80k subs, so see if you can be the man or the woman who hits the 80k mark. That'd be great. Love it. Fantastic. We're talking Sunday in the NBA. It is obviously a low volume day because that's what Sunday is. And it's an early start as well. We have got, now I don't even know what time this is because I know there's a bunch of daylight saving things that are going to happen. I believe that is, I'm going to say it's a 2:30 p.m. start, Eastern. Correct me if I'm wrong. No, 3:30. 3:30 p.m. Eastern is the first game of the day. And then we've got 2 other ones, and then we are done, like incredibly early in the day. Another early Sunday finish. So that then will lead us into a massive Monday with 15 games on. So let's just try and work out how to win this matchup. Always having a little bit of a view to the long term, especially early in the season. But when we're talking about Sunday, we're just going to go through individual categories, points leagues as well. Who are the guys that we take a look at across different league sizes that can help us get that victory going? So we'll start by looking at points leagues. We'll start by looking at Yahoo scoring. We'll start by looking at, secondly, we'll go to ESPN point scoring as well, which of course is the same scoring method as the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl. On the Yahoo side of things, you're going to see these 2 names appearing a lot in this show. It's New Orleans, and it's Jose Alvarado, and it's Jordan Hawkins. Because DeJounte Murray is out, CJ McCollum is out, Trey Murphy is out, Herb Jones is out. There's no guards. These are the guards. This is it. There's nobody. Alvarado is a must-roster player. He won't be long-term, but he is now. And same with Hawkins. When 4 guards are out, you got to grab the 2 that are left. So they're going to be useful. And you're going to see a lot of them. And if they have not been grabbed in your league, not only do you get the benefit of using them on Saturday or on Sunday, but you just get it for the next 2 weeks. Plus 3 weeks maybe. It's just an absolute, there is no other decision here. I've got Mo Wagner on this list as an asterisk player. We know that Paolo Banchero is out, but what we don't know is whether Wendell Carter Jr. is out. Now, the other day, I talked about, who did I talk about? I think it was on Twitter when I talked about, people asking me about Mo Wagner and him replacing Paolo. I said, I don't think so. They don't really play much at power forward. But then Wendell Carter was out. So what that then turns into, this is how we can view this, is that Mo Wagner becomes a must-add for this particular reason. I think this is a better way of being able to put this out versus where I can do it on Twitter. Is that I have no idea what will happen when Wendell returns. I know that Mo wasn't going to start because he didn't. But would he play backup center and power forward minutes? But I don't know. But now, with Wendell out, who I don't know when he returns, he might be back on Sunday, he might not be. Right? You get that opportunity of having the start last game of Mo Wagner. You might get another start on Sunday, and you might get 4 or 5 extra minutes as a backup power forward too. You might not, but we always are trying to balance probabilities. What was the probability that Mo Wagner would play 26 minutes when Paolo went down? Really, really low, incredibly low. What's the possibility now that he gets 26 minutes? Well, it's high because he could play it as the starting center, or he could actually bump that up with that extra 5% chance that he gets back up power forward minutes as well. So that's where that changes. And then when Wendell comes back, we have him. We hold for that one game because we've already added Mo Wagner, and then we adjust where we go from there. If he goes back and plays 17 minutes a night as a backup, then it's pointless but we've got the ability to get something extra early on and then move off it later on. At the moment, we just don't know those Magic statuses, though. Goga and Wendell are both questionable, which obviously influences Mo Wagner there also. Yves Missi is another great streamer because he played the good minutes last game. I don't know that he's going to play 26 every night, but given who's out, there's more opportunities for this. DeAndre Hunter's been ruled out again for Atlanta, but Dyson Daniels has been upgraded to questionable. So we check on that one, but Ricochet, I know he stunk last game. I don't think that'll always happen. And then Tim Hardaway Jr. is another Yahoo points option. Now, he is very boom or bust, but with only 6 teams playing, Brooklyn, Detroit, Atlanta, New Orleans, Orlando, and Dallas, by the way, Atlanta, New Orleans against each other, the teams with everybody out, what a matchup that's going to be. But it will be for fantasy because there'll be huge opportunities opening up everywhere. Hardaway becomes an option for us in that setting. On the ESPN Points League side of things, it's basically the same. Ricochet's inefficiency stuff probably hurts a little bit on ESPN points, and the return maybe of Dyson Daniels can impact that. So if Jonathan Isaac slides in there, but we're talking Alvarado, Hawkins, Mo Wagner, Yves Missi, John Isaac, and Timmy Hardaway. The extra value for Isaac with the steals and blocks on ESPN pushes him up there, even though I don't think he's playing 25. He didn't last game. I don't think he's going to, because if he could, he would. I'm very certain of that. If his body was in a state where it would allow him to do that, they would do that. But he's not, so I'm going to assume that he can't at this stage, which is very obviously annoying, but I think that's where we're at. We're going to come back for Category League streaming in a sec, but today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. November is the month of gratitude. Who do you show gratitude to? Do you show it enough? Do you show it to the people in your life that you need to? Do you show it to your work colleagues, to your partner, to your children, to your parents, to yourself? Because people do things for us sometimes we don't even realize the lengths that people go to try and help out, and we're all out here trying to make sense of everything that's going on in the world, and that's not easy. So just send some people in your life some gratitude, and finding that ability to recognize the good is part of one of the good things in therapy. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, well, you can better help a try. It's entirely online. It suits your schedule. You fill out a questionnaire. They match you with a therapist. And if that therapist, for some reason, doesn't click with you, well, you can change to a new therapist at any point without any charge. So let the gratitude flow. With BetterHelp, go to betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Okay. Let's stream through now onto the Category League side of things. Individual categories, I'm going to give you the top 6 names for each of the major categories and see where and again, there's going to be a lot of crossover because that's just how categories work. They're not independent. There is crossover between these categories. So if we are just streaming in for scoring, Jordan Hawkins is going to probably play 37 minutes. He's going up against an Atlanta team that has a terrible defense. And he could have 0 points. That is possible. That happened once this week already when I suggested he might be a stream guy. And I don't know if he had 0, but he was 1 or 2. He didn't do anything. But it's all about opportunity. And the opportunity's there. His teammate, Jose Alvarado, another guy who's going to get a lot of opportunity. So we look to stream these 2 guys. Tim Hardaway could get 20. He could get 6. But he's going to have an opportunity to play the minutes and see if they go in. Mo Wagner, another really high volume scorer. Zach Ricochet. And then even Zaire Williams, I think, pops himself in there as a discussion point because we've seen a few decent enough scoring games. It's not ideal, but there is a possibility that Ben Simmons doesn't play. He's currently questionable. This is the first of a back-to-back for Brooklyn. So it's possible that he doesn't play this one or he doesn't play Monday. We don't know. But there is an opportunity maybe there for Zaire Williams to do a little bit more. On the 3-point side of things, a lot of the names are very similar. Hawkins, Alvarado, Hardaway. All of those players, maybe less so. Actually, not true. Out of the top 4 names there, top 5 names, Hawkins, Alvarado, Hardaway, Beasley, and Garrison Matthews. That's Malik Beasley. I would say all of those names, except for Jose Alvarado, could hit 7 threes. Matthews, if Dyson Daniels plays, less so, less upside there. But Hawkins, Alvarado, huge chances. Hardaway and Beasley, you probably don't think they're both going to do it at the same time, but they've both got that chance to shine. Alvarado's more of a 2 to 3 threes guy, upside-wise. And the other one there is Ricochet, who was bad, but he can hit 2 to 3 threes really easily. I believe they'll give him another big opportunity, unlike last game where he got benched really early on. Because again, they are playing the Pelicans, who also don't have anybody. Now, him trying to match up with Brandon Ingram or Zion Williamson might be comical to some degree. But I think they're going to at least give him a little bit more playing time than we got in the last one. Let's transition over to a few of the big men. The targets are obvious. I think it's Orlando, it's Mo Wagner. It's Yves Missi in your leads, who probably, I'm going to guess, starts again. Wagner's value again will dip if Wendell is out, but he still is worth looking at, even if Wendell plays. Sorry, his value would dip if Wendell plays. My bad. John Isaac could get you 7 rebounds in 19 minutes. Jordan Hawkins, pretty good rebounder for shooting guard. So he's been getting decent numbers there. And Jose Alvarado, that's just through volume of minutes. Now, when we talk about the upside of guys, like Hawkins and Alvarado's rebound upside is really low. Like, they're not double-digit upside players. Dorian Finney-Smith, though, he's less likely to hit a good number because his minutes could go 32 or 27, but he does have double-digit upside. So you've got to sort of look again, because there are 2 ways to play it in a category league, and I've said this a lot as well. You're either trying to catch up or you're trying to buttress. You're trying to protect. You might be ahead of someone by a certain amount and you go, well, I actually really need 6. I really need 6. So a guy with a secure role, or I need 4 or whatever. A secure role is better than someone who might play Jonathan Isaac, but might not be out there. Or Missi might get into foul trouble and have 5 fouls in 10 minutes. But he could get double digits easily. So slightly different strategies depending on how your matchup positions itself. On the assist side of things, honestly, there's 2 options to really get you assists. One of them is Jose Alvarado, who just needs to be rostered. The second one is Mr. Black. Anthony Black is going to start without Paolo. He's probably going to have some iffy shooting. He's going to have very low usage, but 6 or 7 assists distinctly possible. Just as a side note, Jalen Suggs' first 2 games of this season were comical. Like, they were comical. They were so bad. And now, bro, is cooking. He played 27 minutes a night last season, Suggs. Now he's getting 36 a night. He's scoring 20 a game. He's getting 4 steals. Honestly, no hyperbole, could be a top 25 player this season, Suggsy. And I was like, look at 80 or 90. I was like, I'm interested in Suggs. Let's see where we go. No, this is a ridiculous version of Suggs. It's unbelievable. Side note, though. Anthony Black, one of the better assist upside players. And then it gets a little iffy. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope might get you 3. And that's mainly through security of role in minutes. Spencer Dinwiddie doesn't have security of role in minutes. He could easily lose minutes to Jaden Hardy immediately. But if Kyrie or Luka gets hurt, or there's a blowout and he plays 23 minutes, 6 assists is possible. Tim Hardaway Jr., not known for assists, but he can get 5. And the other one there is Jalen Wilson, who's going to get his 22, 23 minutes for the Nets. It's probably never a chance of 6 assists, but he probably gets you 2 or 3. Just a solid enough role. But you can see there how quick the assist streaming options just disappear. There's just none of them. They don't exist. There's hardly anyone available to do that. On the steal side of things, well, it's Alvarado again. You're getting the idea that Jose Alvarado is a must-roster player. He can get 4 of them, 5 of them easily. And we know what happens with steals. There are bushels of steals at times, and they can be hit or miss. Javonte Green, who I refused to spell his name correctly apparently on that graphic, he's getting extra minutes with all the injuries. He is a very good steals player, and he is rostered nowhere. So he's interesting. KCP, if there's one thing that he does, it's steals, and even that's hit and miss. But he's there. Dorian Finney-Smith, probably more of a blocks than steals guy, but 1 or 2 through a 27 to 32 minute a night role is always useful for us. Zach Ricochet had a 2 steal game the other day. Like, that's possible. I don't think he's got 4 or 5 steal upside, but whatever. But someone with 5 steal upside is Jonathan Isaac. Again, it's very unlikely. But this is the man. This is the guy that pushes the 2 steal, 2 block per game threshold in the past. He can easily do those big steal games. So when we're talking about options to have a crack at, to really boost ourselves and go, who's the guy that maybe hits? Well, it's Alvarado, obviously, but maybe it's Isaac as the next one. Come back and look at blocks, look at percentages. Today's episode, though, is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Get ready to tackle FanDuel, all the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, all new customers can bet $5 and you get $150 in bonus bets if that $5 bet, that first $5 bet, wins. You could be watching your game and you're getting a hunch, and the FanDuel Sportsbook app is going to give you everything that you need to place those live bets on the NFL. Instead of going somewhere else to see the stats or the live play-by-play, the app where you place the live bets has everything all in that one spot. So go to FanDuel.com right now and join today. Get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That is FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. Okay, we've looked at steals, so the next one would be blocks, and that transitions us into big men. Yves Missi can be a 3-block player very comfortably. John Isaac, we talked about already, is just that player with tremendous block upside, but we just never know what the playing time is going to look like for him, unfortunately, as he returns from this hip injury. But they're both there as options. And then it does get pretty rough. Goga Bitadze would be a good one if we see Wendell's out and Goga plays, but that's a couple of things that need to happen. Daniel Tice gets his 15 minutes or so. Interestingly, they just didn't play Jeremiah Robinson Earl last game, so watch for his minutes. Noah Clowney can get 2 to 3 blocks, but he's playing 14 minutes. They're really sort of dropping him back, which is very frustrating. Dorian Finney-Smith is starting, playing 30 minutes, has had a couple of double block games this season, and that's about minutes security there also, and playing a lot of center. And the other one is Ricochet, who, again, you're not expecting huge things out of Zach, but he showed an ability to get some blocks, had 2 the other day, and a 30-minute potential role means that there's at least something in that. Not an easy day to stream with only 3 games on. Field goal percentage. We're talking about this not from strictly a field goal percentage perspective, but volume is a part of it. We know that. And Mo Wagner is one of those players. Now, Mo Wagner's volume goes up if he starts, and he becomes even better in this position. But otherwise, he is already a high-volume, high-efficiency player. Yves Missi and Javonte Green, they straddle the line. They're not high-volume guys, but they're high field goal percentage. So you might get a 4 or 5 night, a 3 or 4 night. It's not going to make big differences, but it's enough. A 3 or 4 night from them and a 0 or 4 from someone on the other team, or a 0 of 6 or a 1 of 7 might be enough. Daniel Tice, similarly. Isaiah Stewart, who, I don't know, he's taking some minutes away from Jalen Duren, one of the key things to watch for the Pistons. They also went small last game as well. And we got Paul Reed. Paul Reed played 7 minutes last game, and Paul Reed, I think he had 2 steals and a block. I don't think that means anything's happening, but that is a huge red flag for the Pistons at the moment is center. And the other one there is John Isaac. He's a pretty decent field goal percentage player. For free throw percentage, it's a little bit easier to find some really good options here. It's Jordan Hawkins. It's Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Not that he takes many. Jalen Wilson, Tim Hardaway, both really good free throw players. Mo Wagner, you've seen his name a lot here as well. And Spencer Dinwiddie, also a very, very strong field goal percentage player. That's it. That is a quick Sunday look-ahead stream, guy. Just give you a quick update on what we know injury-wise. We don't know if Simmons is playing. Dyson Daniels is questionable. And Goga and Wendell are both questionable as well. That's where we're at with that. The injury updates so far. I think you know what to do now. You go and hit the old thumb. You double bang. You comment. And guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.